Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and it hasn't been forgotten about. We are back on the Rockster. Alright guys, welcome back, and those who know the channel and been watching for a while know that this is the Rockster. This is my 1998 Porsche Boxster, which I have transplanted in a Audi A6 V8 into the back. And if you missed the last episode, I'll put a link up above so you can catch up. And do think about subscribing, it definitely helps the channel out. So those who were watching last time will have seen that this all ended in a lot of noise and a big cloud of smoke, and there was lots of speculation about what was going on. I thought the water pump had died because it's still overheating and I haven't got all my little issues sorted out. I think I have gotten on top of it, and there was one eagle-eyed viewer who actually worked out what was going on that I missed and everybody else missed. The noise from the last time, which I'll put up here so you can sort of see what we're talking about. Something sounds horrible. I think it's the power steering pump. What the viewer picked up was that the starter never cancelled. So the starter motor was engaged that whole time, and I ran the car for sort of 10 minutes with the starter motor engaged, and it was making a lot of noise and a lot of racket. And that's what all that noise was. So, because many of you brought up the fact that the water pump is not actually lubricated at all by having water in it. It's just running on, it's just got bearings, so that shouldn't have affected the water pump. And I agree. And I was just sort of, working through possibilities, and I thought it might have been the water pump, but that's not it. No, it's the starter motor. So why did it do it? Well, the whole time I've had this car, the key, when you turn it around to click the key to on, there's no detent. The spring has died or whatever, so the key does not come back, and you have to physically bring the key back off of the sort of start cycle to the on cycle to make sure you don't do exactly what I did. So that is what's killed it. So today I have ordered myself a new starter motor. After the previous time I killed the starter motor, I realised I found a lot of trouble getting a starter motor in Australia, but a lot of you put me on to getting it from sort of regular sort of US sites, and it was really good. Getting it from America, it took a week, and it was cheaper than any sort of equivalent here anyway, including shipping. So that was well worthwhile. So I've got a starter motor. So first things first, I think we need to swap that in. All right, starter motor is out, and yeah, it looks like it's cooked. I'll show you here. If I actually... All right, so one part of it's good. It actually punches the spinny bit forward. I can't remember what the name of it is, but that works well. But if I try and actually spin the motor itself, it just shorts out, and it's not having a good time. So I think the motor inside is cooked, but part of it's good, so I'll keep this around for the next time I screw up a starter motor. But we have a nice new one, so let's chuck that in the car. The horrible rattling noise was gone, but I realised the power steering fluid was dry because I actually done some stuff to that. So let's put some power steering fluid in it, and then hopefully it'll sound good, and that part will be fixed. Sounds beautiful. Nice and quiet, the way it should be. Moving forward. Now that I've got it running again and running nicely, at least it sounds okay, I need to make sure that I don't blow another starter motor by this dodgy key. And I did briefly think about getting a whole new key barrel and trying to fit that in and trying to fix it. And it's much easier to just jump on eBay and get what I've done here is a cheap push to start button. So basically you just turn the key on, and I'm just going to take the wire from the starter to this, so I can just key on and hit this to start, and I don't have to worry about runaway starter motors anymore. So let's start digging in and see what it's going to take. All right, so I've been down here under the dash now, digging in and trying to work out exactly how to set up my starter switch. And basically what's been going on, it looks like there's some dodgy immobilizer down under here. I don't want to pull it apart because the car works without playing with anything at the moment, so I'm just going to tuck it back under there and forget I saw it. But somebody's messed with the wires previously. In any case, I can see where the starter motor wire is. I have the factory Boxster wiring diagram here, which I traced. I can see where the starter switch is, and there's a large yellow wire that goes to the starter motor. So I'm just cutting that, getting the direct power from under there as well, and I'll be just running those to this electric start switch. I've wired this end up already, and I found a nice little spot on the dash, a little blank plate, which I will now drill a hole into and mount this switch in, so I can just mount this into the blanking plate on the dash and have a nice simple engine start button. All right, everything's connected up in theory, so now I should be able to, yes, start button works. All right, that was relatively straightforward, and hopefully now this starter motor will live for the life of the time I have the car, because I'm sick of replacing starter motors. So let's move on. All right, so the starter is now sorted, and so now it's time to actually have a look at my cooling system again. And I have this universal kit here, which I'll show you guys. It's just a universal radiator pressure testing kit. So I'm going to find the appropriate fitting and connect it up and see if we can pressurize and see if we can see if there's a leak somewhere and why I couldn't pressurize this last time. So let's see how we go. All right, my pump is not working very well, but this has been holding 10 PSI for a couple of minutes now, and it doesn't seem to be an issue. So maybe it was just an issue with my vacuum bleeder. Yeah, the engine seems to be holding pressure, but I did notice that my coolant level is low. It's hard to sort of see, but the minimum line is all the way up here and or there. And yeah, I'm missing a bunch of coolant. So let's top the coolant up and see if we can sort of bleed this thing again and get a bunch more coolant in there and get it working the way it's supposed to. Here we go again. So radiator's topped up. I think now, finally, with that top bleed hole that I've now found and opened up and connected up to the radiator, I don't think there's any vacuum leaks. I think it's actually good. So fingers crossed this time the thermostat might open and we might actually get some coolant flow, because I'm pretty sure we just always had a big vapor lock in the top of the engine that was not bleeding out because there was no way for the coolant to go through. Now I've opened up that highest point and connected it up to the overflow tank. I think it might work. No guarantees. We'll see. It's a very slight ticking sound coming from the exhaust, but doesn't sound horrible. Everything seems to be sounding reasonable. Water temp, currently 25, 26 degrees. We have some warmth coming into one of the radiator pipes. One of the cooler pipes, the hot side, is finally got some temperature. A little bit. The water temp is currently at 54 degrees, but that is a positive sign because we've never had that before. Every time I've felt them, they've both been stone cold. I think we might have done it. Oh, that'll be so, I hope so. On a side note, that ticking sound has gone. Sounds nice. Nice and smooth. Temperature is currently at 69 degrees on the water. And underneath, well, that's getting quite hot to touch now. Cold side is still cold, so it doesn't feel like the thermostat has properly opened up, or at least the water coming back is still very cold. So radiators are actually physically warm to touch now as well, which is fantastic. So that means we are getting coolant flow through the system. The fans have not turned on yet, but it's taking so much longer to warm up than it did before because obviously it's got fluids that's actually moving around now, so it's actually doing what it's supposed to do, I believe. Definitely sounding so much better than it did in the past. Don't have leaks. Oh, fingers crossed it stays this way. It's sitting happily at 81 at the moment, still idling. It's been 15 minutes now. I think we have a win. We have a win. All right, the return side is getting warm as well, so we actually have coolant flowing through the system. It's actually doing what it's supposed to do. Finally! It's been so long. It's been so frustrating and just making me tear my hair out. And now it's purring like a kitten. It sounds nice. It's working. There's no nasty noises. It's not leaking. And it's not overheating. Yes! All right, I am calling that a win. It is still sitting here purring like a kitten, not overheating. Touch wood. Everything feels good. There's oil pressure. Water temp is still just sitting at 85 degrees is what it's got up to. And I just can't sit here all day, but it's been sitting like this for 20 minutes now, idling happily. Coolant is running through the system. Yes, we have a win. Finally, I've worked out. It was such a frustrating thing for so long, and to actually sort it out is a big step. So that means that I can finally start doing some of the really cool bits that I've got ready for this car. I've got lots of things ready to go on this car. They're still to come. There's lots of interior bits, there's exterior bits, there's wheels, there's all sorts of stuff. So hopefully you guys will join us for that. I am so happy. It's so good. if you're enjoying this stuff, do all the things, like, subscribe, join us on Patron to watch videos a day before everybody else, ad-free. And if you're enjoying this, yeah, we'll see you on the next one. See you guys.